Part 1. I have started reading about the biblical story of Exodus. A summary of the story is given below. This reminded me that today is the festival of Passover, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to take some time to reflect on the past 7 years and share some of the things I learned, observed, and experienced while living and working here in Israel. The story has begun with Pharaoh forcing the Jews into slavery, and decreeing that every son born to the Hebrews should be drowned in the Nile River. One baby, named Moses, is saved and adopted by Pharaoh's own daughter. When he grows up, he was told by God to command Pharaoh to let the Jews go. Pharaoh disagreed, then God sets out 10 plagues. As the story goes, during the 10th and final plague, God passes through the land of Egypt and strikes down the firstborn of every household. But the Jews have been told to mark their doors with the blood of a lamb they've sacrificed. Pharaoh's son died, causing him to let the Jews go free. However, he changed his mind. The ensuing chase ends up with Moses being trapped in front of the Red Sea, that was parted by God for the Jews to cross. Another miracle that finally leads them to freedom. 1. Did you know that Jews, Messianic believers, and other Christian denominations celebrate 3 feasts as part of the 8-day Passover holiday? Pesach to Passover. Hag HaMatzah, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Yom HaBikurim, Feast of First Fruits. 2. Common activities that I had observed joining Ashkenazi and Sephardic families for a Passover meal, Seder. Both families have strong family ties, they discuss their thoughts, they support each other, and they do everything together on this special night, like reading, drinking 4 cups of wine, telling stories, eating, singing, and observing other Pesach traditions. 3. Traditional foods placed on my plate. Zeroa, roasted shank bone of a lamb or chicken. This represents the sacrifice of a lamb whose blood was painted on the doorway of the Israelites' houses so that God would pass over that house during the 10th plague. Baitza, or egg in English, it is a symbol of mourning over the destruction of the temple. It also represents the circle of life, renewal, and rebirth. Maror and chazeret, bitter herbs, horseradish and onion. These represent the bitterness of slavery and harshness of slavery that the Israelites endured. Karoset, an applesauce-like mixture with wine, nuts, apples, etc. It represents mortar used by the Israelites when they laid bricks for Pharaoh's pyramids. Karpas, often parsley. It represents hope and renewal. 4. Traditional foods placed on the table. 3 pieces of matzit, a cracker-like unleavened bread, which are separated from each other by cloths or napkins. The middle matzah will be broken and half of it put aside for the afikomen. The top and another half of the middle matzit will be used for the hamotzi, blessing over bread. The bottom matzah will be used for the korek, hillel sandwich. It symbolizes the bread that Israelites took with them when they fled Egypt. Salt water to represent the tears of the Israelites when they were enslaved. Wine glass kiddush cup. The Torah commands that, at least 4 symbolic cups of wine be consumed during the Passover Seder. Take note that there may also be 1 or 2 extra kiddush cups on the table. A cup of wine for the prophet Elijah, whose spirit visits on Passover, and a cup of water is set out for Moses' sister Miriam. It represents Miriam's well, which provided water for the Israelites in the desert. Part 2. Add-ons. Kometz vinegar in English. Some Jews traditionally include vinegar on the Seder plate, closest to the leader next to the karpas. Zait, olive in English. It symbolizes olive trees that have been uprooted in Palestine. Coffee or cocoa can represent forced child labor in these industries. Artichokes represents the interfaith families. An orange represents the fruitfulness for all marginalized Jews. Things I learned from Rabbi Moshe, a kind-hearted man and the first rabbi I met upon arrival in Israel. Haggadah means telling. This is a Jewish text or book or program used as the basis of the Seder, which tells the history of the Passover through prayers, stories, and songs. Don't be shocked when you see pillows on the chairs, because this is a symbol of being free. During the ancient times, servants and slaves stood up most of the time. You are supposed to recline when celebrating Passover. Orthodox Jews do not eat leavened bread for 8 days, they only eat matzah. While some Jews abstain from hametz. Religious Ashkenazi Jews are prohibited from eating rice, corn, or legumes. Kidneyot. Dipping explained. The first dip of bitter herbs in salt water symbolizes the replacing of tears with gratitude. The second dip in caroset symbolizes the sweetening of burden, bitterness, and suffering. Lastly, the Talmud states that it is forbidden to have any other food after the afikomen, so that the taste of the matzah that was eaten after the meal remains in the participants' mouths. Though I have been observing Passover since I was 12 years old, experiencing the feast in Israel while surrounded by Israelites, the Hasid family and Goldger family opened my mind to new perspectives. Observing the way they treated a foreigner, particularly a Gentile, like me inside their home, gave me a sense of comfort, excitement, and reminded me of my life purpose. I am forever grateful to both families for the opportunity, and I'll cherish these experiences for a lifetime. To everyone, may you enjoy the Passover Seder in the spirit of freedom, humility, compassion, and joy.